Well, today's gospel story is a commissioning story. Earlier, Jesus had given the 12 apostles authority to go out into the world and perform miracles. And now, Jesus' followers have grown in number. So he sends out 70 or 72, depending on which translation you're reading, people to pave the way for Jesus' arrival. Now, in reading this lesson, I couldn't help but think of a saint, Catherine of Siena. I couldn't get her story out of my mind. Anyone know about her? Okay. She was born in Italy in 1347 to a very large family. At age 6 or 7, she had her first vision of Christ, and she decided at that young age to remain chaste and devote her whole life to God. But at age 16, her older sister, Bonaventura, died, and Catherine was told that she had to marry her sister's widower. And she didn't want to. He wasn't a very nice man, by all accounts. So in protest, she starved herself, and she cut off all of her long, beautiful hair. And eventually her parents gave in, and her father built her a dark cell in the house where she could lay all day and pray all the time, alone. So she devoted herself to Christ by closing herself off from the world and praying without cease. But then one day, around age 21, she had another vision. In this vision, Jesus came to her and told her that she was not fulfilling his will by staying locked away. Instead, she must go out into the world and do good works and live out the gospel. And that's what she did. She went on to help the sick and the poor. She worked in hospitals, and she even gave away most of her family's possessions without their permission, I'll tell you. And her pious activities attracted followers. And eventually, she caught the attention of the Pope and was vital in church politics of the time. But no one wants to hear about that, right? So I'll stop there. So why is Catherine's early life popping into my mind today, you might ask? For one, Jesus sends his followers out in pairs. He sends them out together because there's strength in numbers. Together, the followers can help each other when they're lost. If one falters, the other can carry them. If one loses faith, the other can have faith enough for both of them to get them through the journey. They can bear each other's burdens. As our collect today says, they are united to one another with pure affection. So we can't do it alone. It's all about being a community. Catherine had closed herself off from the world to devote herself to prayer, but then Jesus said to her, no. You have to go in the world. You need to interact with people to share my message. And even today, with all our fun technology and internet, we can become very easily isolated. When I don't want to talk to anyone, I put my headphones in. I call them my invisibility headphones. So I can walk around and people know that I'm not a friendly person. But I am a very friendly person. And we can get anything pretty much delivered to us in the mail, right? And we value our independence and our self-reliance, and asking for help is often seen as a weakness, but not according to Jesus. Jesus tells his followers to take nothing, to be completely vulnerable and dependent on other people, to partake in hospitality, not just give it, not to hide, but to go into the world. And another part of Catherine's early life that I see today is that she lived according to Jesus' teachings. She helped the poor and the needy, and in doing so, other people were inspired by her. She didn't stand on the corner and preach to people or try to force conversions. She lived a good life and inspired others. And today, the disciples are called to do that, to go out and plant the seeds of the gospel. Jesus says that if somebody doesn't extend hospitality to them, Tell them the kingdom is near and keep going. He doesn't tell them to argue or to curse them or rain down fire, even though we know that they want to from another reading. Nope, Jesus says keep going. The disciples are there to prepare the way, to plant the seeds so that the people can be ready when Jesus does enter their lives. And this is harvest language, which is sometimes a little foreign to us now as people who tend to forage for food at Market Basket. If a crop isn't mature enough, if it's not grown enough, then you can't harvest it. If the plants are cut too soon, your yield won't be of good quality. So here the disciples are planting the seed of the gospel by their words and actions, like Catherine did, and like we're doing. Living our lives the way Jesus taught, and by doing this, we are meant to inspire other people. It isn't about the numbers of the converted. Jesus says today not to rejoice over the special powers he bestows or over how many miracles they do or how many people they convert, but rather rejoice that their names are written in heaven. I mean, sure, we want to have more members, right? If we didn't have any members, we wouldn't be a community. But even if we don't get more numbers, you can never know who you have touched in your life. We might never know that we planted a seed in someone else. We don't need to do miracles to prepare the way. A kind conversation with a stranger at the laundromat, helping an overwhelmed mother get her baby carriage down some steps, remembering a long-lost friend and sending them a letter. These are all things, little things, that we can do that might plant a seed. And we can't wait around inside for people to come in. We have to go out. Now, we tend to think that we need a lot of things in our lives. Having just moved, I can tell you that more than a few times I just wanted to chuck everything out, start over. But we tend to think that we need a lot of things in order to spread Jesus' mission too, right? Many people say to me, well, I don't have a seminary degree, or I haven't taken any public speaking classes, and I'm not qualified to talk about God. Well, that's nonsense, of course. Jesus shows us today we don't need fancy degrees. I'm going to talk myself out of a job one of these days, but we don't need fancy degrees or rock bands or laser light shows. All we need to spread the word is ourselves and our life experiences and our experiences of God and a friend to take along with us for the journey. Speak about your own experience of God. Live a good life. Be a kind person. These are things we can do every day. So this is a commissioning story for the disciples and for us too. We all have our own commissioning moments in life. Catherine of Siena had these vivid visions that called her out of hiding to do good works. And we're not meant to go through life isolated. As Christians, we are to live according to the gospel in a community, giving and accepting hospitality, preparing the way for Jesus. And as our own faith grows, so too can we inspire others to grow until Jesus comes for the harvest. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Amen.